Hey, what's happening, guys? Dan Darrow here with another Options and Play video update. Rolling along in earnings season, we've had a lot of big reports up until this point, but we've also still have some big ones on tap. So this week will be it'll be busy again. Tech is definitely going to be in focus, but we also will start to get some retail reports, which should be interesting because of this past quarter was the holiday quarter, right? So lots to look forward to. Monday before the open, really nothing of interest. After the close, Avis CAR. I mean, they're priced in 36 to 38 points. This was what happened last earnings. Now, I mean, this was just absolutely ridiculous, and I feel like it's hard to expect it to repeat anything close to that this week. I mean, that was just unique setup, and the problem is that now options seem priced very high because of this last quarter's move. So I don't think I'm gonna have any position on it. But I mean, maybe the day after, once the numbers come out, and maybe if option pricing comes down a bit. But this is what happened last quarter, so you can bet there's gonna be a lot of people talking about it. Before the open on Tuesday, Marriott. So about 10.5 points. Honestly, I'm not really that interested in it, but it has been strong. A lot of travel names have been strong. And this morning it actually put in a new all-time high. Plus, I guess what's interesting too is that it's the first of the hotel names to report, so there could be some uncertainty with that one. After the close on Tuesday, another big travel name, Airbnb, priced in about 16 points, crushed it last quarter, and the stock traded up pretty sharply, but now it's given all that back. Omicron weighed on it a bit. Plus, it's not a cheap stock, so that also hurts it in this environment. I mean, it does seem like it's an interesting spot technically where it should move, though options might not leave a ton of room. Um, I might look at a volatility strategy here, but I'd have to get risk down for it to make sense. Also, Tuesday after the close, Roblox. So about 12 points was priced in. Had a huge move after last quarter, but then, like everything else metaverse related, it's fallen pretty sharply. It seems to be at a spot where it could have a sizable swing in either direction. So I mean, I might look at something on the bull side just to see if they bid it up ahead of time, similar to what they did with the firm. But also, if they don't, I mean, it could still set up maybe for a volatility strategy. But we'll have to see where it is after Monday. UPST, so about 25 points is what's priced in here. This one should be interesting. Was a Momo darling until November earnings, and then it basically the wheels fell off. I feel like the stock is due for a large move after trading in a tight range now for a couple weeks. Um, Direction uncertain because I mean, yeah, it's way off its high, but Lending Club, which is a peer, was hit pretty hard in its report, and that was well off its high. Option pricing, it's not cheap, but it does seem like a decent setup for a volatility strategy. Wednesday before the open, so Crocs, about 13.5 points was priced in. Retail hasn't been as volatile as reporting period yet, but now we're going to start getting some bigger names. Crocs as well off its high, crushed it a few quarters in a row. I think what's weighed on this is that they had an acquisition recently. So I'm sure there's going to be questions about it on the earnings this week. Based on the recent strength of numbers, I mean, I guess it wouldn't surprise me to see it catch a bid into its report, but that deal they did might be a little bit of an overhang on it in the near term. Shopify. Sorry, it's about 108 points is what's priced in here. Big report. Missed across the board last quarter, but it traded higher. That was this day. Now, well off that level. Amazon's e-commerce numbers weren't great. PayPal's e-commerce numbers weren't either. Um, I mean, and this isn't a cheap stock even after its drop. So, I mean, it could really be a pretty sizable mover, and I guess it had better be because I mean options are priced in over 100 points. It's really a toss up to me. I mean, it seems like sentiment is low, and we know what Amazon did. However, Shopify is a little bit different because Amazon had web services and Shopify doesn't. So I really feel like it's a game time decision. It's a true toss up setup. Uh, we'll see if maybe it weakens into earnings and then maybe it'll give a better setup post earnings. But I just don't have a great read. Trade desk, about 13 points is what's priced in here. They really crushed it last quarter. Stock had a nice run, well off its high. Software stocks, they've delivered this quarter, and Trade Desk maybe sets up for a rally on earnings if it doesn't keep rallying into earnings, right? Because some of these software stocks have really been on a nice run, and the more they run into earnings, it seems like the less they pop on earnings. So if Trade Desk pauses or pulls back, maybe it sets up for a speculative bull idea. But if it just keeps running higher, then it might be more of an avoid for me. Wednesday after the close, so some more big names. Nvidia pricing about 26 points. It's the last of the mega caps to go, and expectations are they're definitely higher after AMD's strong earnings. Their ARM deal just fell through too, so it's probably gonna be a lot of questions around that this week. Semis haven't been seeing huge reactions to earnings this quarter, so I guess I'm not really excited about laying out a ton of money for Nvidia options. Um, it's probably going to be more of like a post earnings swing trade candidate, or I might even look at AMD options as a sympathy play because those two have really been moving in tandem with one another. AMAT, so about 10 points, what's priced in. Didn't have a great report last quarter, but it also didn't get hit too hard. Some peers have had mixed reports this quarter, though, so I'm a little bit more cautious on AMAT. I'm not sure if I'll be in it, but I mean, it could move like a LAM, LRCX, or a CLAC. Cisco, so about 325 is what they're expecting. Had disappointing guidance in November, dropped, and then just the market completely shrugged it off and it ripped. Now it's all the way back down. I, I mean, it's in a relatively tight 2 to 3 week range. Seems like it's coiled for a move. Option pricing, it's also well below what it moved last November, so maybe it leaves some room for a volatility strategy. DoorDash, so about ooh, excuse me. About 15 points is what's priced in. It could be interesting. Stock has been hammered. It's at an all-time low. They just did a big deal last quarter too, which actually ended up marking the high. Since being public, it's been pretty volatile around earnings also, and this setup seems like kind of like a make or break one. Um, Option pricing, it's not cheap, but if I can get risk down, maybe it seems like a setup where it could have a decent move in either direction, and the pricing it's not crazy high, but if I can get it down further, maybe it's something I can look at for like a strangle or a straddle. I guess a strangle. MTTR, so another metaverse play that's been absolutely crushed. Pricing about $1.50. I'm really only just curious to see what they say. They missed on revenues last quarter, and I don't know if the street's going to like that this time around. Not Probably not going to have any options on it into the report, but maybe something to keep an eye on post print. Before the open on Thursday, Walmart, so big retail name, about 625 is what's priced in. I'm interested to see how this plays out because the stock has gone nowhere in over a year, and this is the holiday quarter. It feels like something has to give. I mean, the stock is at the bottom of a 10-month support. Breakdown could be significant, but also obviously there's plenty of room higher. The last big earnings reaction for Walmart, interestingly, was actually this quarter last year. So maybe lightning strikes again, right? Maybe. So I think this is going to be a focus of mine later in the week. Also, before the open on Thursday, Palantir about $1.75 is what's priced in. Last quarter's earnings is what started the slide, and I mean it just hasn't stopped. Stock has had no bid for months, so I guess this report will be a chance to turn it around. I mean, I haven't traded in a while. I don't think I'm going to be focused on it for earnings. Maybe if it's decent, they can turn the corner. I'll take a look, but it's probably an avoid otherwise. After the close on Thursday, Roku. So about 26 points is what's priced in. I'm really not sure what to make of the setup. It seems like it should move, and it does occasionally have larger swings around earnings, but it's also really struggled to kind of get any big intraday moves for a little while. Um, it does have room either way, right? Maybe more of like a spec play for me, where I might look at more of like a boom bust type strategy because maybe there's a outside chance it has a 20 to 30% plus move, but it's not something I have a ton of conviction in. So if I did do anything, it would probably be with like cheaper out of the money options. Shake Shack. So about 8.5 points is what's priced in. restaurant stocks have had mixed quarters, but actually they've acted a little bit better. Shack had a decent report in November. That's what led to this pop. So maybe it's some room higher if they can deliver. Um, maybe something to look at speculative on the bull side, I guess, depending on how the week goes, because there's a lot of time between now and Thursday after the bell. But right now, it seems like maybe something more like in the bull camp for me. And then lastly is Deere. So the price in about 22 points. The stock had a big move this past week after they did an acquisition. It's right at the top of its 52-week high or range. Um, the stock acts great and it looks good. The problem is that industrials as a group have not had a great earnings reporting period. The numbers haven't been bad necessarily. It's just the reactions from the stocks haven't been great. So it's kind of hard to pay up for Deere that's at a 52-week high and up a bit into earnings when a lot of its peers have been hit on the reports. So I guess I'm a little bit more cautious on Deere going into earnings, especially with options pricing being at 22. But again, I mean, there's a lot of time between now and Friday, so we'll have to see how the week goes.
Hey guys, I'm on the mic. Can you hear me?
Um, so as you can see, still a lot of big names, a lot of big expected moves. So it should be a busy week. So if you like this video and you're looking for more information about trading earnings with options, please follow up with the link in the description of the video for more information on options and play. Hope you have a great weekend. Enjoy the Super Bowl. Stay well, and I will talk to you on Monday.